While most are distracted by Bitcoin pumps and meme coins, a financial spine is being woven in silence. One that could soon hold every transaction, identity, and even belief. And it may already be too late to unplug.
Have you ever just, stopped and thought about how money itself is changing? Like really changing, incredibly fast.
It's happening right now, isn't it?
Yeah. Digital currencies are popping up everywhere, shaping how we buy things. Global systems are being totally rewired. And some people are even connecting all this to ancient prophecies. It feels, huge.
Pivotal moment for sure.
This is the Last Transmission Podcast. I'm your host.
And I'm your expert guide for today's journey.
Today, we're doing a deep dive. We're looking at how digital currency rules, global payment standards like ISO 2022, and yes, even interpretations of prophecy about a cashless future might be converging.
It's a fascinating intersection.
So you're invited to explore these shifts with us. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's unpack this. The whole global financial scene is undergoing this massive transformation. Digital assets are right at the center of it.
Definitely. And it's not just about, speculating anymore. These could be new forms of actual money.
Right. So what's the main thing you need to grasp when we talk about digital money? What are the categories?
Good question. Fundamentally, we're looking at two main types. Cryptocurrencies and then central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. They're quite different.
Okay.
Cryptocurrencies, think Bitcoin, Ethereum, they run on these decentralized blockchain networks. Basically shared digital ledgers, not controlled by any one group.
So no government control.
Exactly. That's the appeal for many financial autonomy. Transactions can cross borders easily, they're transparent on that public ledger, and they use cryptography for security. Makes them hard to mess with.
But they have downsides, right? Volatility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big challenges. Price swings are famous, security risks like hacking are real, and there's still the question of scaling. Can they handle millions of transactions smoothly?
Got it. And the other type, CBDCs.
Right. Central bank digital currencies. These are digital versions of a country's official money, like a digital dollar or a digital euro, issued by the central bank.
So the government is involved there.
Directly.
Yeah.
Issued and regulated by them. The goals are usually things like stability, making payments faster and cheaper, and maybe reaching people who don't use banks.
But that control aspect raises questions.
It does. Concerns about privacy, how much the government can see about your spending. It's a major trade-off.
It seems like total opposites, decentralized crypto versus centralized CBDCs. Can they actually coexist? Or is one going to win out?
That's the really interesting part. It's looking less like an either situation. The potential is emerging for them to actually work together, playing different roles.
How so?
Well, you could see cryptos continuing as, say, investment assets, maybe for big international settlements where that borderless nature is key, while CBDCs become the go-to for everyday stuff, like buying groceries, offering that stability central banks want.
Okay, so complementary roles. Makes sense.
Exactly, a both-hands scenario, potentially.
Yeah, right, that helps frame the technology.
Yeah.
Now let's talk regulation, especially in the U.S. There's a definite push to get some rules around these digital assets. Stablecoins seem central to that conversation.
Very central. Stablecoins are designed to tackle that volatility problem we mentioned. They're pegged, usually to something like the U.S. dollar, and backed by reserves to keep their value steady.
So more predictable than Bitcoin, for example.
Precisely. That stability makes them much more practical for everyday use and, frankly, helps keep the U.S. dollar relevant in this digital shift. It's key for mainstream adoption.
And there's legislation aimed at them, like the Genius Act.
Yeah, the Genius Act is one example, a bipartisan effort trying to create a clear federal framework specifically for stablecoins. Clear rules could really boost confidence, especially for institutions, and help companies like, say, Ripple with their RLUSD stablecoin operate compliantly across borders.
Okay, clarity sounds good. But I'm hearing alarm bells from some experts about other proposed laws, specifically something called FIT 21.
Yes, FIT 21, the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. This one is definitely stirring up debate and some serious concerns.
What are the main worries?
Well, a big one is that it might actually be deregulation pretending to be regulation.
How did that work?
It proposes this new category, investment contract assets, and then specifically says these are not securities. That's huge because it could pull many digital assets out from under the SEC's oversight, the main agency protecting investors for decades.
And why is that risky?
Critics point to things like the law change in 2000 that deregulated derivatives, which many believe paved the way for the 2008 financial crisis. The fear is creating a loophole that unleashes a flood of unregulated products onto the public. Less protection for you.
And there are issues with who would even do the regulating.
Yes, another major red flag. FIT 21 shifts a lot of power from the SEC to the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The problem: the CFTC is historically way underfunded and understaffed compared to the SEC.
Like, how much difference are we talking?
We're talking CFTC's budget around $365 million with maybe 700 staff versus the SEC's $2.1 billion and about 4,500 employees. FIT 21 only gives the CFTC an extra $40 million a year for 4 years to handle potentially thousands of new crypto assets. Well, it seems nowhere near enough.
So the agency tasked with oversight might not have the resources to actually do it effectively.
That's the core fear. It could cripple their ability to police these markets and potentially weaken their existing job overseeing crucial derivatives markets for things like farming. Investor protection built up over years could just evaporate in the crypto space.
And the CFTC focuses more on big players, right?
Yeah.
What about regular folks investing in crypto?
Exactly. The CFTC's traditional focus is on large institutional markets, not retail investors like the SEC. So under FIT 21, you might lose protections you take for granted with stocks or bonds.
Such as?
Things like SIPC insurance that protects your account if a brokerage fails, independent audits, rules ensuring you get the best price, brokers having a clear duty to act in your best interest. These might not apply to crypto under this act.
Wow. Okay. Any other major concerns with FIT 21?
Yeah, there's this self-certification process. Crypto projects could basically declare themselves decentralized, and the SEC would only have 60 days to challenge it, with maybe 20,000 tokens already out there. It seems impossible to review them all meaningfully.
So potentially thousands of tokens hitting the market with very little real scrutiny.
Potentially. And exchanges get reasonable discretion on compliance. That sounds a lot like self-policing, which hasn't always worked out well in crypto. No required cybersecurity standards, exchanges changing rules whenever they want. It's concerning.
And it affects state laws too.
Yes, it could override state-level protections, like New York's BIT license, which helped shield its residents from the FTX collapse. FIT 21 could remove those stronger state shields, potentially leaving everyone subject to a weaker federal standard.
Okay, so a lot of potential pitfalls there, according to critics. Shifting gears a bit, how does all this fit into the global picture? We're seeing efforts to standardize digital payments worldwide, right?
Absolutely. And that brings us to something called ISO 2022. Think of it as a universal language for financial messages globally.
A universal language. Why is that needed?
Well, it's crucial for making digital currencies, especially CBDCs, work together smoothly across different systems, what they call interoperability.
Interoperability, so they can talk to each other.
Exactly. Both horizontally across the steps of a single payment and vertically letting payments jump between systems, like from a CBDC network to a regular bank account, without losing any data. It avoids the messiness and friction we currently have, especially with cross-border payments.
And this is important because lots of countries are looking at CBDCs.
Over 100 countries are exploring or building them, and making them interoperable is seen as a core feature. The G20 even has a roadmap pushing for everyone to adopt a harmonized version of ISO 2022. It's a multi-year effort, but key systems are working towards being fully capable, potentially around the 2025 timeframe.
So by roughly 2025, we might have this global standard really taking hold.
That seems to be the trajectory major payment infrastructures are aiming for. Adopting this standard is seen as critical for efficient, integrated digital finance worldwide. It lays the foundation for a much more connected system, possibly running on blockchain-like tech.
A universal language for money, enabling seamless global flow. What are the implications beyond just efficiency? Does that kind of standardization create new dynamics, maybe surveillance concerns?
That's a really critical question. On one hand, yes, incredible efficiency, better tracking of illicit funds, potentially smoother global trade. It's very appealing from that perspective.
But the but is?
The but is that the same standardization that enables efficiency also enables unprecedented visibility. If every transaction speaks the same rich data language sender-receiver purpose epition, it creates a potential for much greater monitoring.
Monitoring by whom? Governments? Central banks?
Primarily, yes. For CBDCs especially, that data could flow back to the central authority. Great for catching crime, maybe, but it raises huge questions about financial privacy. Where is the line drawn? Could this data be used for other forms of social control or integrated with digital ID systems?
So a double-edged sword. Efficiency versus autonomy.
Precisely. It's a fundamental tension in this whole shift. The technology enables both.
Okay. Now, as we consider all these huge technological and regulatory shifts, there's another layer. Some people are adding a prophetic one. This connects everything we've discussed to something much older and potentially quite unsettling for some.
Right. There's a perspective drawn from one of our sources that sees these developments not just as technological progress, but as steps in a larger plan, sometimes called the Great Reset.
A great reset leading where?
Leading, according to this view, towards a single worldwide digital currency, a truly cashless society. And the key part is that in such a society, every transaction is tracked, eventually replacing national currencies altogether.
And how does prophecy fit in?
This viewpoint directly links these trends to a specific passage in the Bible, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16.
Can you share that?
Yes, it reads, "And he causes all, the small and the great, and the rich and the poor, and the free men and the slaves, to be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and he provides that no one will be able to buy or to sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name."
Wow. So this interpretation sees modern tech developments as fulfilling that.
Exactly. Things like discussions around vaccine tattoos, potential microchipping or digital tattooing, the push for universal digital IDs, even social credit systems, they're viewed as potential precursors or building blocks for this mark of the beast system.
A system where buying and selling depends on accepting this mark or system.
That's the warning. A future where your ability to participate in the economy, to access services, could be tied to compliance with this system. And the fear expressed is that people with, say, politically incorrect views or those who dissent against official narratives could be locked out, excluded.
That's a powerful and frankly quite alarming interpretation linking current events to ancient scripture.
It is, and it's a perspective that's gaining traction among some communities observing these rapid changes.
Now, just to be crystal clear for everyone listening, we're presenting this interpretation because it was part of the material we reviewed. It's a specific viewpoint.
Right.
We're not endorsing it or refuting it. We're simply sharing the ideas from the source material so you can consider them alongside everything else we've discussed and, form your own conclusions.
Absolutely. It's part of the complex picture.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the basics of crypto and CBDCs to the weeds of U.S. regulation like the Genius Act and the controversies around FIT 21, the huge global shift towards ISO 2022, anticipated around 2025.
And that provocative connection some are making to biblical prophecy.
It really shows how interconnected everything is: technology, rules, global standards, even deeply held beliefs.
Yeah.
Our financial world is changing incredibly fast.
It really is constant flux.
So, as you've been listening, what stands out most to you? How do these pieces fit together in your mind? Does this future of money feel exciting, worrying, a bit of both?
Good questions to ponder.
And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. As these digital systems become more and more woven into the fabric of our lives, more connected globally, what's the right balance? That balance between the convenience they offer, the security we need, and the personal autonomy we value. What kind of future are we actually building right now?
Something we're all shaping, consciously or not.
Definitely something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
They promised us transparency, but what they're building is total control. As the world steps into a future powered by blockchain, ask yourself, are you walking into freedom or into the system that will one day demand your worship to buy and sell? This isn't just technology. This is prophecy unfolding.